unexpected joy at dawn. Thinking that his sick wife is already dead, on entering their one-room apartment, Nee screamed his wife's name 3 times. As the wife still lies motionless, he runs his hand over her, feeling her pulse to confirm his fear. He briefly recalls and reflects on the words of the physician who had concluded that his wife had a few days of her life. He begins to blame himself for thinking otherwise. He goes on to further run his hands over her body. Eventually, after passing her chest again, he discovers that his wife is still alive, and he feels relieved. Meanwhile, he had heard some noise at the door without responding. Although relieved that his wife is alive, he is still haunted by the verdicts of many physicians who had given Massa only a few days. He recalls a couple of things, how life had started well for them until she became ill, and how he has been advised by a friend to explore spiritual options in treating his wife. The friend had recommended that he should visit Odifo Nkansa, who runs God as Beyond Science, a spiritual home. Neil later opens the door to encounter 3 of his neighbors, who appear disturbed. They inquire after Mansa's health, and he tries his best to allay their fears. They express their concern and offer advice. They had been frightened by Mansa's scream in her sleep. Neil returns to his wife, who lies still, but is still murmuring something. He moves closer to her, kneeling to be able to hear what she was saying. To his question about how she feels, she replies in the affirmative, and Neil reassures her that she is going to get better. Her attempt to smile, unfortunately, causes her pain. Mansa thereafter seeks to know what the doctor has said before. When she was taken from the hospital, Nee tries to parry the question, but Mansa insists that the doctor had asked for more money, which he knew they no longer can afford. Nee equally protests and remarks that the doctor had actually praised her fighting spirit. Nee broaches the idea of visiting a spiritualist to Mansa and does his best to convince her that it is a promising option. Her worry about money is dismayed by Nee, who suggests that they will go to the healer in a few days. He then helps his wife, who wants to vomit into a chamber pot in the room, which he disposes into an open drain behind their building. Mama Rojo shares her memories with Ebook as they go about evangelizing. Mama Rojo and Ebook, members of the Amen Christi Church, Ileire, are going about their duty as evangelists, trying to win new converts for their church. At a point, Mama Rojo sees and stares at an immigration officer, reminding her of a past experience. As they walk on, they feel that the people of Ileire are not receptive to their preaching, and that a rival denomination, the Saham brothers, consider them pokers. In spite of the discouragement, they intend to keep their appointment with a certain elderly man. Mama Rojo recalls a day of their initiation into the Amen Christi Church when Abok acted dramatic. Instead of kissing the cross, Abok had beaten it to the horror of everybody present. Even after the pastor had forgiven his misconduct, she laughed to the point of making other members of the congregation to laugh too. The conversation of the friends returns to the issue of an immigration officer seen earlier. According to Mama Orojo, seeing the officer reminds her of a brother who still lives in Ghana. She recalls how 15 years before, she was forced to leave Ghana for Lagos, Nigeria, alongside many other Nigerians considered to be aliens and ruiners of the country's economy. On the way to Nigeria, her parents had died one after the other. She was left on her own with no family, with very little money. Her brother and granny had been left in Ghana. Ever since, she had lost contact with the two. Mama Rojo also recollects her predicament when she first arrived in Lagos, how things were difficult, how lonely she was, and so on. She suddenly announces her plan to visit Ghana and possibly bring her brother to resettle in Nigeria. Mama Rojo and Ibuk arrive at the place of their appointment to meet Mr. Tom Monday, their host, who receives them warmly. After the pleasantries, Tom Monday exhorts his guests not to notice his daughter or to ignore her if she interrupts their discussion. He informs his guests that ever since his daughter became a member of the Saham Brotherhood, she has become very intolerant to other religious beliefs, though not violent. He expresses the conviction that her daughter's husband put some funny ideas into her head, but hopes that it is a mere youthful fantasy from which she will eventually recover. He however observes that his other child is not like that. Unexpected joy at dawn. Ni in discussion with his colleague officers. At work in the expense bank, the manager's interview with Ni does not go well. Ni had recommended a project proposal entitled Ant Hill Brick to the bank for funding. The manager, however, does not approve of the proposal, believing that it cannot yield much profit, even though Ni tries to argue the potential it has. But his boss will not have anything to do with his argument. He dismisses him by noting that the bank policy cannot support the approval of the policy. A lady typist in the office by name Linda approaches Ni and the manager. She tugs at Ni's feeling by observing that he had not spoken with her the whole day, only to suddenly switch attention to the manager without waiting for Ni's response to her overtures. The lady draws the manager's attention to a story in the newspaper she holds, pointing to the news about aliens. The manager admits having seen the story and recalls feeling worried the last time he read about it. The lady also points out that the issue of aliens, deportation, and expulsion is becoming commonplace in West Africa, citing example of Togo and Ivory Coast. She also insinuates that while aliens in other countries are not being treated kindly by their security personnel, in Ghana, no one lifts a finger at them. It soon becomes obvious to Ni that the conversation on aliens by the other two people were designed to ridicule him. As he gets up and walks toward the toilet, he hears the manager saying if he had his way, he would have sacked all the aliens in the bank. Ni walks away muttering xenophobia to himself. He goes back to his seat with the fear that sooner or later Ghana will sack aliens again, like it did 15 years earlier. He sees himself as a possible victim because of his tribal marks. Neil later goes back to Linda and gives her a number of instructions, including typing a document and taking it to the project manager after that. Linda puts the paper aside and continues reading. She looks up to Nee, who ignores her. Back at his seat, Nee buries his head in his palm while the manager approaches him and observes that he appears depressed. Nee uses the opportunity to express his disappointment that the anthill proposal he recommended was not approved. Later at his seat, he reads the newspaper that 3 million people were being deported from Nigeria, with Ghanaians constituting about 2 million. The typists come in to hand the file of the work given to her to Nee. She thereafter bluntly requests Nee to visit her. When he does not respond, she repeats her request, and Nee grudgingly agrees that he will do so if he is ready. Unexpected joy at dawn. Mama Rojo an ebook with Tom Monday, apparently done with a religious discussion with Mama Orojo an ebook. Tom Monday diverts the talk to other matters. He broaches the possibility of assisting Mama Orojo to get a contract since she claims she is a contractor. Mama Orojo welcomes the idea. Mama Rojo also expresses her preparedness to pre-finance the contract, as it is usual with her. This pleasantly surprises Tom and his admiration of Mama Rojo increases. Tom begins to wish that had Mama Rojo not come as an evangelist, he would have proposed to her immediately. However, he has to take his time and wait for the right opportunity to do so. As Tom struggles to coordinate his thoughts, Abel taps the table and proceeds to lead further discussion in a religious direction. She points out that during the rule of the Romans over the Jews, the clergy and the laity were separated. She adds that instead of the resurrection after death, most people seem interested in, they should rather be concerned and interested with spiritual resurrection in their lives. At this point, Tom raises some issues. He endorses the view that God created man in his image, but wonders why man has to die. As he turns to Mama Orojo, apparently for her responses, she readily dismisses the view as a reflection of the weakening of the spirit with sin, self-doubt, fear, adultery, cheating, among others. Having exposed her dislike for her weakness in the spirit, Mama Orojo unintentionally discouraged the thought of the proposition already forming in the mind of Tom. He decides to be more patient and turns his mind to the preaching at hand. When Mama Orojo observes that God created man to live forever, Tom, however, laughs it off. He thinks of religious zealots as gradually mad and dismisses Mama Orojo's observation as a joke. Mama insists that the seed of eternity is in humanity. She also condemns man's acquisitive instincts, which Tom finds odd. He wonders why the same God who created Adam cursed him. At this point, Tom's eldest daughter enters and briefly listens to the ongoing discussion. She later leaves, and Tom uses the opportunity to divert the discussion to business by reminding his guests that he will be going to Lagos the following week. Unexpected joy at dawn. Nee and Masa discusses her condition. Masa is lying in bed when Nee walks in. Presently, she begins to retch. Two men had been smoking marijuana near their door, and the smoke is now filtering in their room. Nee helps his wife to the plastic chamber pot to vomit into it and walks out to see the smokers. By the time Nee returns into the room, his wife is already mourning again. However, she downplays the degree of her pain when asked how she feels. Nee watches her anxiously as she screams with pain while explaining the cause of the pain. A mouse had disturbed her peace and she had tried to reposition her body. Nee tries to hunt down the mouse and provokes his wife into a soft laughter in the process of what looks like a gymnastic. He joins in the laughter and threatens to exterminate the vermin. Both of them turn the matter into a joke, as Mansa observes that her husband would not have had to be fighting mice and mosquitoes if she had plugged the hole they passed through. Nee sits down on a chair and eventually sleeps off. Shortly, he shouts in his dream, "Blackness is not enough. Blackness enough." While still asleep, he tries to show concern about his wife's plight. She is troubled about her husband's sign of ill health, although Nee tries to reassure his wife that there is no problem. She knows and tells her husband that he has been worrying over the alien issues in the country. She expresses a deep concern about the development and points out that Nee had spoken similarly in his sleep once in the past. Nee finally admits his fear, pointing out that the stories on the newspaper are whipping up xenophobic feelings in the people, even in his office. He thinks that his tribal marks are certain to give him away as an alien. Enthusiastically, Manso tries to reassure her husband that nothing bad will happen to him. Though tears well up in his eyes, he promises his wife to stay in Ghana. Unexpected joy at dawn. Mama experiences delay at the airport. Mama Rojo is caught up in the traffic on her way to the airport. Her driver tries to maneuver the car slowly and carefully through the road congested by human and vehicular traffic. Eventually, the car breaks down. She abandons the car and rides in a taxi to the airport in good time. At the airport, while on a queue, a young man pesters her, asking her if he could fix a place for her on the London-Accra-Congo-Brazzaville flight. She politely answers that she has booked a ticket already, but the young man will not deter from pestering her. Mama soon gets the attention of the air hostess, who advises her to ignore the young man, declaring him one of the boys who cheat travelers. Shortly after, the queue breaks up and it appears that what the young man had said has turned out to be true. He quickly tries to take advantage of the situation by requesting a fee of 29 naira to Mama Orojo to fix her problem. With a new development, the crowd of prospective passengers get into the rage over the claim that the flight is full. They protest on top of their voices. Luckily, the helpful air hostess is at hand to help Mama Orojo. She scrutinizes her ticket and directs her to the custom and other check-in booths, and to go on flight HT954, seat number 21. The young man, who eventually is stout, walks away. Mama sees the flight chart display, Lagos Accra, 18 o'clock GMT. She is confused because her flight is scheduled for 10:45 a.m. She is to learn later that the chart is still featuring the previous day's schedule. She pays her airport tax and strides happily toward the immigration checkpoint. At the immigration checkpoint, Mama is made to unzip her bag and declare its contents. The immigration officers clears her and also warns her to be careful in Ghana because there is information that Nigerians are not well treated over there. By the time she is done with the check-in, it was 10:50 a.m. Unexpected joy at dawn. Mama Rojo is defrauded by a fellow passenger. The plane has been airborne for 59 minutes, in a flight that should have lasted for just 45 minutes. Therefore, Mama is agitated. She looks around for the steward of the flight, but none is in sight. Then she turns to the man sitting next to her to express her worry. The man equally wonders why it is taking the plane so long to get to Accra. Meanwhile, the plane appears to be in an unsteady motion. The man assumes some calm, smiles, and asks if Mama is traveling the route for the first time. He tries to get friendly with her, asking questions and complimenting her. With a friendly companion, Mama virtually forgets that the plane is unstable in the sky until suddenly the plane loses height again. Then she became thoughtful. The friendly passenger tries to put Mama at ease. He prompts her to eat her lunch and observes that the flight is sometimes rough or even worse than what they are experiencing at that moment. Apparently, still at ease, Mama reaches for the air travel safety instruction folder and tries to read it. She is agitated that hardly is she able to match the instructions with what is at the emergency door. Above the door of the first cabin appears the information, "Fasten your seatbelt. No smoking." Shortly, the plane begins to rise again, and Mama closes her eyes in fright. Other passengers also appear disappointed by the flight. Still anxious, Mama turns to the man beside her, takes a deep breath, and tries to smile, but fails. In return, the man tells her that things are getting better. The man appears interested in showing off a bit. He holds off his hand in front of him in such a way that Mama could notice the golden ring he was wearing on one of his fingers. Mama notices the ring and smiles. Feeling foolish, she compliments the ring, describing it as beautiful. The passenger admits that it is beautiful and that it is made of pure gold, asking if Mama had heard of Wachi jewelers. While the answer was negative, she admits that the jeweler is a great craftsman. Having got Mama's attention and noticed her admiration of the ring, the man also praised the jeweler as the best, and the gold from which the ring was made the purest from Obuasi gold fields. Mama observes that it must have cost a great deal, and the man declares it is only 2,500 worth, a price she considers reasonable. On the man's prompting, Mama reveals her mission in Ghana to visit a brother she saw last 15 years ago due to the deportation of aliens. The man expresses his sympathy and tries to make excuses for government incompetence. However, he also blames the leaders. At Mama's expression of her liking of the gold product, the man offers to sell it to her for 2,000 cedis. He believes Mama could have sold it in Lagos at a good price if she decides to sell it. The man asks for Mama's address in Ghana, but she says she's going to stay in a hotel. He makes to offer her in getting a good hotel for her, but soon apologizes on the grounds that he has an important meeting of his company to attend. He regrets his inability to show her around. Mama is slightly impressed by the man's friendliness. She admires him and compliments his generosity. Both exchange gratitude. Shortly, the announcement of arrival at the Kotoka airport is made. Mama makes a sign of the cross, relieved that the flight has ended safely. She takes a taxi from the airport. In the taxi, she brings out the ring and wears it in the middle finger. The driver notices it and focuses his attention on it briefly. He compliments the goldsmith who had made such an ingenious ring for Mama Rojo. After some traffic distraction, the man requests to have a look at the ring, and Mama Rojo obliges. He returns the ring while declaring that this ring is fake. Mama requests a detour to the police station to make a complaint. Unexpected joy at dawn. Mama Rojo reports her misfortune to the police. At the airport police station, Mama tells the sergeant on duty she was defrauded aboard her flight to Accra. After some interrogation, the sergeant leads her to a notice board on the wall in front of the office where the pictures of wanted criminals are displayed. From among the pictures, she identifies the man beside her on the flight as the fraudster. The sergeant, on knowing that Mama is from Nigeria, tells her to be careful. He adds that she bargained for the ring. He wanted to say something else, but he checks himself. However, he promises that the police will do everything they can to make sure they retrieve her ring. He also reveals the name of the criminal as "I put it to you." Mama is worried.
The weather is harsh and dry. She has been defrauded. However, she pulls herself together and walks away from the station. She soon notices that one of the policemen she saw at the police station is following her. Catching up with her, the police corporal offers to take her to where she could get a genuine gold if she wants to buy one. Mama agrees to follow the policeman to Beiman complex to get gold because the fact that the man is a policeman gives her some sense of security and confidence.